Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Leaders of Color webinar, part one of our series. My name is David Brown. I am the Vice President and Chief Information and Equity Officer at Edenwald Senior Living in Towson, Maryland. And the purpose of the Leading Age Maryland Leaders of Color Network, it's a professional networking group that's for senior, mid-level, and emerging leaders of color and allies who are part of the Leading Age member organizations. The Maryland Leaders of Color Network is committed to fostering growth, facilitating networking, and building support within our communities. We play a vital role in connecting individuals, sharing resources, and promoting collaboration among people of diverse backgrounds and experiences. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jennifer Maranya, who will take it from here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Parker and Jennifer, welcome. If you don't mind turning those cameras on, we'd love to see your faces because most of us are connected with Leading Age Maryland or part of the panel. Parker, welcome. Hi, Jennifer. We're going to go ahead and do introductions. We're going to have everybody do a bit of an introduction. I'm going to start with our panelists, though, and actually let me take a step back and introduce myself. I am Jennifer Maranya. I am a diversity consultant, and I'm a diversity consultant for Leading Age Maryland and helping to really grow and support the Leaders of Color Network. So I want to start with our panelists because we're excited for our panelists to share their stories and experiences. So I'll have the panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll move into making sure that everyone gets the brief intro because we'd love to meet everyone in the space. So Allison, I'd love to start with you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Siborowski. I'm the president and CEO at Leading Age Maryland. And it's great to see everyone. And Parker, it was great to meet you in person at Broadmead last week. Welcome to your new job there. It sounds like a really great role. And Jennifer, I don't know that we've had a chance to meet, but it's great to see you. Yeah, I lead Leading Age Maryland. I get to work with all these great people in many different capacities, and just really excited to be here today to share my experiences and learn from everyone else. So thank you.
Regina? You're on mute.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Regina Figueroa. I'm the executive director at Keswick Multicare Center here in Baltimore City. I've been in healthcare for over 25 years now, senior living predominantly, and I love what I do.
Thanks, Regina. Cody?
Good afternoon. My name is Cody Christian. I am the Director of Accreditation and Quality Improvement with Ingleside. I've been with them for about 9 years in various roles, healthcare administrator, even fitness manager. I also chair the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee for my organization, as well as co-chair the Leading Age Maryland chapter, and excited to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you also. Allison, Regina, and Cody are our panelists for today, but I also want to make sure we get, once again, to meet one another. Stephanie, Stephanie's a co-chair for the Leaders of Color Network. Go ahead.
I'm Stephanie Martin. I'm the Communications and Development Manager at Keswick. As Jennifer just said, I'm the co-chair of Leaders of Color and also a part of our DEIB group here at Keswick.
Thanks, Stephanie. And of course, this wouldn't be possible without Sarah really coordinating and making sure that everybody can show up and gets the link and all of those things. Sarah.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Sarah Hemming. I'm a member relations and education manager here with Leading Age Maryland.
Awesome. And Dee, I know you just joined, but part of the Leading Age team, Leading Age Maryland team, once again, they work so closely together and help make things happen. So Dee, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Dee. I'm the Director of Operations here at Leading Age Maryland, and I'm just excited to be on the call and learn.
Awesome, awesome. And Parker, would love to learn more about you.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, and thank you. I'm excited to learn and grow in this network more. This is what my official first week. So I started a week ago Thursday. And so I'm from Ohio, born and raised, but spent some time in New York and making my way down here. And so unfortunately, I have to apologize. I brought all this bad weather with me, so I apologize for that. But like I said, I'm excited to meet and network and fellowship with you all and continue to learn and grow in this space more. So thank you.
Awesome. Welcome, Parker. And Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jen O'Connor. I'm the accounting associate for Lutheran Social Ministries of Maryland. But my office here is at the Lutheran Village at Miller's Grant in Ellicott City.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you all. So I'm excited to be here because today's conversation, actually, and I'm gonna, Sarah, if you don't mind, I want to give some history because I think it's such a valuable kind of recognition of the space that we've created for leaders of color as well as allies. So our Leaders of Color Network, as David said earlier, is here to really support the leadership and growth and development of our leaders of color. And part of that is recognizing the role that allies play as part of the network. And so it really is leaders of color, inclusive of allies. But what we wanted to do was take some time to talk about what is an ally and really unpack that and share and really delve into that together. As the planners were getting together and thinking about who are some key folks in our space that we could tap into, so the three panelists you will be hearing from today are folks who have shown themselves to be allies. They stand up for folks in groups that they might not be a part of. They're doing the work, right? Not just done it, they're doing it on a daily basis in their roles and beyond. And so we're excited to hear from them today. So I have a series of questions. I'll be asking the questions, but what I want to really convey today is that it's a conversation. And so as I ask the questions and as the panelists share their responses, for folks who are, for other folks in the space too, we want you to engage also. So we'd love to make sure that we get to hear your voices too. We'll definitely have some time for Q&A at the end. And so we want to make sure that all voices are heard in this space. All right, so my first question for the panelists, can we talk about what does it mean for you to be an ally? What does it mean for you to be an ally? And I'm just watching you, there's a few of us here, so you can just kind of speak up, and whoever wants to get us going, go for it.
Okay, I'll go. Hi. So for me, again, I think it's showing an authentic leader, showing that being a leader and someone that is looked up to as a mentor is not perfect, didn't have it easy, and is willing to share those challenges. And when others see us or see themselves in us, it's, oh, I can do it too. And how can I get there? So I do enjoy helping others and sharing that journey, and letting them know that there were challenges, there will be challenges, and you can continue to overcome and continue climbing to get to wherever you need to get to.
Yeah.
So just letting them know that it's possible.
Mhm.
There for them.
Thanks, Regina. Allison and Cody, or either or.
Go ahead, Cody.
All right. So an ally to me is someone that is brave and willing to sit in vulnerable spaces to be with people in their authentic selves. And an ally is able to approach people in situations with being more empathetic as opposed to judgment. And it's just a continuous work. Allyship evolves with the situation and with the people and with the time. So just someone who's willing to kind of tread the waters that when it gets difficult.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cody. Allison.
Yeah, I think initially when I think about this question, what does it mean for you to be an ally? I think a couple of things for me. I think that it's, for me personally, not assuming that my experiences are the experiences that other people have had, and being humble and listening and appreciating the experiences of other people, and kind of like Cody was saying, remaining in that place of curiosity and not judging just because I don't understand something. And I think that also being an ally is not, I mean, you can practice you can practice being an ally, but I think it's an identity that others assign to you more so than something that you can always give to yourself. Yes, you can be an ally and you can practice behaviors and approaches that I think make you a more effective ally, but I think that it's something that others identify or give to you when they feel that you're being an ally to them.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all. And so I just want to highlight some of the things that were shared, because when I think about the characteristics that you all shared, I was like, well, isn't that a leader, right? And so it's almost like, how powerful would it be for leaders to embed being an ally in their daily, right, in what they do and who they are. So I heard authenticity. I heard somebody who really is a motivator in many ways. Hey, if I can do it, I know you can do it. Courage, right? Bravery, vulnerability, empathy, that recognizing that this is continuous work. There's a humbleness to it, ability to really listen and appreciate the unique lived experiences of others, and lean into being an ally with curiosity, not judgment, right? And so as I hear those different words, I think, gosh, that's a phenomenal leader, right? That's just somebody who leads in a way that wouldn't you want to work with them and for them. But thank you, a really powerful way to really encompass what it means to be an ally. So I would love to hear some of your stories around when you first realized that you wanted to be an ally. What comes up for you all?
I can
Cody.
start with this one. So I grew up in kind of rural Minnesota, and didn't really have what I felt was a safe space or an ally to confide in, as I was kind of coming to terms with being a gay man. And it was kind of at that time when I realized I wanted to do my part to reduce kind of some of those troubling times or those hard moments that I went through for others by creating conversations or spaces for people where they feel like they could come to me with questions, or a space where I would be willing to, again, listen or stand up for, and not feel so alone. So kind of going through that in my upbringing, I didn't really have much of that. So I didn't really fully understand allyship at that age per se, but I understood that feeling. And as I grew up and saw more people who are more like mentors to me, that's really where it kind of solidified my passion or my desire to continue to grow as an ally.
Thank you, Cody. Regina.
Yeah, so I think what Cody said also was, and I would agree, it's when what we've gone through to get here wasn't rosy and perfect, or the silver spoon handed, or we didn't have those the leg up, I know somebody that you can talk to. It was hard. It was being told no all the time, saying not enough experience, or you don't have what we're looking for yet. So because of going through that, I vowed myself that I would not be the one to say no. I would always try and find a way. If I couldn't do it, I could connect you to someone that could possibly do it. Always encourage and offer alternatives. I just wanted to be the one to help others get there.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Regina. Allison.
Yeah, I think that for me, I recognize that I'm a white woman and there's certain privileges that I've just had in my life because of the color of my skin. And I think from a young age, I think just part of my personality is that I have a very strong sense of justice and what's fair and what's right, and different experiences throughout my life where I recognize that things are not fair and that there's people who are treated differently simply because of their sexual orientation or the color of their skin or their background, and just feeling like that's not right. And I wanted to do what I could with the opportunities that I have, or the places that I do have that area of privilege, that to use that for good and to really be aware of it. And I think it really just comes down to feeling that everyone should have access to the support that they need and should feel valued. And so that's really what it comes down to for me. I don't think there's one moment where I was like, oh, I think I'm going to be an ally now. It was more like my life experiences, kind of like Cody and Regina shared, that made me feel like it's something that's important for me.
You know, and I love that all of you shared some of that, this came from my own experience, noticing things, experiencing things that I didn't want others to have to experience, or the sense of justice. And so what I'm hearing is it's not just an ally as part of my work life, it's who I am, right? And so I think that's really powerful to lift up that, you know, these lived experiences, yes, you know, some of it is around work related stuff, but it sounds like but I've lived a life where I have been othered, you know, where doors have closed, not just professionally, but in other ways. And here I am really wanting to make sure that in my life, right, wherever it is, that I serve as an ally. And that kind of speaks to the next question I have for you. So you kind of answered it, but if there's anything you want to add, I want to offer a moment for that as well. Why is being an ally meaningful for you? Is there anything y'all want to add? It was powerful what you already shared, but I want to make sure we get to anything else you wanted to add.
I think just again helping others and that hole in your stomach or the pit when you weren't able, you didn't have anyone to help or to mentor or to uplift and assist you in the challenges. I think it fills me. It makes me feel good that I can help others, or even if I can't help them, when they see me, it's like, oh, I can do that too. Even if you don't even want to, that just, it just means so much. So I guess that could be a selfish thing, but I want others to know that you can do it and there's help out there.
Right. And I love how you brought up kind of the role modeling piece too, Regina. So you might not be able to touch everybody who you might want to be, who you consider yourself an ally to, but by them watching you, you're showing who you are. And it goes back to the term that you used earlier around authenticity, right? By being who you are as a leader, whether someone has access to, you know, working really alongside you or just kind of seeing you from afar, there's such an opportunity to recognize, wow, she has my back, right? And okay, so if she can do it, well, I can do that too. Yeah, powerful stuff. Yeah. Allison or Cody, anything you want to add? All right. All right. So the next question I have for you is just sharing an example of when someone was an ally to you. So we talked about you and your work and your, you know, how you recognize and experience being an ally. But what about, was there a time when someone was an ally to you?
I
Allison?
can go first. So I think there's many times, and I think there's places where maybe someone has been a mentor and has advocated on my behalf. I think one of the times that sticks out to me was when I first moved into this role as president and CEO of Leading Age Maryland. It was the first time I had been in an executive role, the first time I'd reported to a board. And a lot of the folks that I was working with on the board and our membership, a lot of them didn't look like me. They were men a lot of times, folks who had backgrounds in finance, and that's not my background. So I felt a lot of just imposter syndrome, and like they probably think I'm this 30-something-year-old girl who doesn't know as much as they do. And a lot of that was, my own self-talk. It wasn't the reality of what they were thinking of me. But I had a board chair, Mike, who was incredibly supportive. And I felt just came alongside me and really helped me build my confidence and help me really step into my own and to trust my skills and abilities. And so I think it can be as simple as someone really just believing in you and supporting you. And it seems like a small thing, but it really made all the difference in me feeling that I could do this job and do it well.
And what I want to do with this question is let's go ahead and keep the two parts together. And so when someone was an ally to you, and I love the example you gave about Mike, and can you also share a time when you were an ally to a person or a group? Allison?
Yeah, I think the example that I'd give is starting the Leading Age Leaders of Color Network. We were the first state affiliate to start a state level group, and it grew out of David and I getting to know each other at the annual meeting in Denver, and David expressing, hey, I'd really love to start this in Maryland, and me finding the ways to make it happen and kind of doing it together. So it's funny because like in that moment, I'm not thinking like, wow, I'm being a really good ally. I was just like, yeah, this is like a great thing to do and let's make it happen. And we had some challenges in just working through the logistics and conversations so folks knew what the group was. And it wasn't easy by any means, but it was the right thing to do. And it's a great thing to do. And it's been really great to help engage more people in our member organizations and help them feel they have a place where they can engage and learn. So yeah, that's the example I'd share.
Well, and what I love about that too, and even though you didn't say this, I know this to be true, there was no hesitation, right? When David offered it, it wasn't like, I don't know if we can, if we should. It wasn't this vacillating about, it was like, absolutely. And it was like, okay, let's find a way to make it happen, you know? And so I think that's what a great illustration of what an ally does, that an ally sometimes has to move without waiting for, is this okay? I don't know. Do I have to ask for permission? If you're an ally, it means that there's going to be, and there's always ways to make things happen, but are you willing to take that step up to that challenge? Like you said, there were challenges, right? Some of the doors didn't open as easily when you were moving forward with it, but as an ally, you know, you kept standing up and moving through. So, so anyway, thank you for sharing that example.
I'll go
Regina.
next. Yeah, so honestly, I did not have an ally. So again, I did it through the trenches, and however it was possible by different means and reaching out and normal hard challenges, school of hard knocks. But as an ally, again, I have always in every community that I've been in every position, I've tried and I have had at least, and that's something that I like to continue, always have be available for one person, whether it's through an organization or partnership contract. We've always had partnerships with UNC, housing students and healthcare, local colleges and tech vocational schools, whatever it may be. Currently, we've got DeVry students getting their certifications in HIF, becoming interns here at the facility. But I always want to say yes to that. I encourage those partnerships. I encourage whether it's a college student intern, whether it's an on-site employee that's looking to move from one department to another department, however small or large it is. I want to do that for them and for everyone.
And Regina, thank you for being real about, you know, kind of moving up as a woman of color in this industry. That, you know, there wasn't a feeling that there were allies, and that resonates with the experiences of some other folks of color that didn't always have those allies. And I think that's another reason why it's so important for us to lift up this conversation, because I don't think that everybody is not trying to be an ally. I think they just don't know what it means, and that it takes intentionality, and that there's such a need. And so I think when we can raise the awareness around what an ally is and how folks can play a role in it, that would then shift this, you know, and that's part of what the Leaders of Color Network is doing. We want to shift the demographic and make sure that folks of color, because we know we have tons of talented folks of color in this industry, that the same doors that have opened for folks who might not look like them, that they open up, that we continue to open the doors for one another, no matter what our background is, that we recognize that the talent is there, and that we stand up as allies for one another. So thank you. Thank you for speaking to that. Cody.
Sure. I think a really powerful time of experiencing an ally in my life was starting my career here at Ingleside. At this time I was at Ingleside at King Farm at the Rockville, Maryland location. I was the health and wellness, fitness manager is my official title, but I did a lot of wellness programming. And I felt the need to create a health coaching group or a wellness group. And it just happenstance turned out to be a group of 10 women and myself. And it was probably one of the most fulfilling things that I did during that period of time. But we really talked through like the different dimensions of wellness. And as opposed to it being like clinical or educational, it was more like the lived experience. And really learning about what it was like for them to grow up during their time in their family situations and their relationships. And they always wanted me to participate, and I was happy to do so. But they could tell I was, well, I didn't know at the time, but when they would talk about relationships, I would talk about like, oh, my partner, or wouldn't be super clear around that it was another male. Just because I felt comfortable for the most part as far as an employee or a staff member. But when it came to the interactions with the resident, there was a little bit of a hesitation there. And one of the participants mentioned, I think sensed that, and brought up how during her lifestyle, she had questioned her sexuality, and that a grandchild who was of the LGBT, I think just prompting that conversation that it was a safe space for me to then share me being a gay male was really, really powerful. I thought it would come across well, but I just need that one person to kind of, and did it in a discreet and a very welcoming way, was really enlightening and really fulfilling how she navigated that. And I'm forever grateful for that, because then from there I really expanded, being in many town halls, director dialogues, starting our own DEIB work group for the organization, partnering with the Maryland chapter. Like it really expanded from there, but it kind of started in that. And now like the face very open, and I've had employees come to me with their journey of sex. So it's kind of twofold. It kind of worked in both realms for me, and then in turn, my allyship for others came because of that moment as well.
So I love that story and all the stories that have been shared around really you're bringing when you bring your full self, right, to the workplace, it's almost like more doors open, more opportunities open for you to make change, right? Your very presence in the spaces that you have been have created new dialogue, new opportunities, just things that before you got there might not have looked the same way, right? And so what a gift to the organizations and communities that you all work with, that you've been able to bring that, and that's really just bringing yourself to that space. Thank you. Let's talk about challenges, right? And we alluded to them already. Allison shared some of them. But what challenges have you faced as an ally, and how have you overcome these challenges? Regina.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
go ahead,
would
Regina.
say probably getting others to see the why, embrace the why. And, it's always good when, if I could start something or invoke that spirit of helping others, that it continues through others, not just with me. So I think that's the challenge. It's making sure that it's not just one person, one thought, one department, it's something that I can share and have others embrace the why and want to do it as well. And, yeah, answering those questions. Why are we doing this? Why do I have to do this? To get them on board.
Right. And it sounds like it also sounds like legacy building, because you know none of us are going to be in our place in wherever we work forever. So when we leave, we've brought is this new perspective and this being an ally, right? Allyship. And when we leave, we want to make sure that continues, you know, and so it sounds like what you're doing is just fostering that as part of the culture, is we're allies to one another. Thanks, Regina. Allison.
I think that for me, the biggest challenge with, I don't think it's just being an ally, but being someone who's willing to continue to learn and grow is that you have to be, you have to accept the fact that you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to get everything right all the time, and that's okay. But I think being humble enough to realize that, and then to be willing to apologize and to be able to ask questions. So that continuous learning piece. So for example, if, you know, sometimes it can be challenging to make sure that I always am using someone's preferred pronouns, especially if they've changed over time. And I know there have been times where I haven't always gotten that right. And then I try to reach out and say, I'm so sorry, like, you know, and just acknowledge that I'm trying. Because sometimes sometimes just life is hard, and it's hard to get everything right all the time, and you're not going to get everything right all the time. So I think that can be a challenge, just being willing to apologize. And then other people in kind of my peer group, or other people who are white, not always understanding the why. Like Regina said, like, how do I help other people understand the why? And so that can be a challenge of being an ally as well, because I think when you're an ally, it doesn't mean that you're just supporting whoever that person is that you're supporting. It's also being brave in other relationships as well, and being willing to really speak out and stand up.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I love the piece, especially around so the curiosity we talked about earlier, but even being willing to apologize, that can go so far. And I think sometimes we can get defensive, right? When we try our best and things aren't received the way we had intended them. But I love that humbleness of being ready and okay to apologize, being willing to do that. Thanks, Allison. Cody.
My biggest challenge is like the continued perseverance after being in social and professional spaces where not everyone has a vision of practicing allyship. It's really difficult work. It can be trying, and it's important for me to continually like reground myself, and again, coming back to exactly what the other two panelists said, is regrounding myself and reestablishing in my why, right? Because my why might be different than other people's why, but if I have a true understanding of mine, remind myself of mine, then I can persevere through those challenges, or people who have different perspectives or aren't on the journey of allyship similar to me. So very similar to what everyone else has said.
Yeah, thank you, Cody. Yeah, that why I appreciate that theme that has come up, because you also shared it was part of your own whys, right? Why you're an ally, right? And so it extends to the depth of the value of this work and your identity as an ally. All right. So this kind of connects with what we were talking about earlier, especially related to kind of the apology, but sometimes there's feedback, right, that needs to be given. There's feedback that allies might give. And so how do you best receive feedback from people who you identify as allies with?
I can start with this one. I think for me, receiving feedback is coming to a situation and listening from like a neutral perspective, and really having a willingness to learn. And as Allison mentioned, there's times where you will maybe navigate things not the most appropriate way, and you take it as a lesson learned and you grow from it. And try not to be offended when people try to correct you, because some people don't know how to necessarily have those conversations the best way. But we don't know their past, we don't know their journey, their story, and it could really trigger something. And we have to be willing to sit in that space of kind of absorbing some of that at times, which can be really difficult. But at the same time, let's say you're offended yourself, is not to assume someone's intention. Just like we don't want other people to, they don't know our intention, right? Our intention, we're allies. We know what we were trying to say with that certain statement or act. And we have to, again, I think that's where it's kind of listening in a neutral space, important, and not assume intentions.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cody.
I think for me, again, it comes from your personality and kind of what Cody was saying is where you're coming from with it. I am a open person and very humble and down to earth, I think. So in feedback that I'm giving it authentically, and feedback that I'm receiving, I can take any of it in different manners and ways. I won't get offended. It won't fluster me. I can say, did you really mean it that way or not? But I think I take and receive it very openly, maybe too openly.
All good. Thanks, Regina. Allison.
Yeah, I think we're all unique. We all have our own communication preferences and styles and how we communicate with others and how we prefer to be communicated with. But I think something Cody said really stuck out to me. It's just like the not assuming. Like, just because Regina said something that maybe I didn't quite understand, I'm not going to assume that Regina meant it in a bad way, and vice versa. Like, I think assuming good intentions goes a long way. And so I think, that can be helpful in feedback when someone's giving you feedback, to be like, okay, I'm going to assume that they're giving this in a manner of wanting to help me improve and wanting to help our relationship, which can be hard to not fall into being defensive or, well, I wasn't trying to come across that way, but to just stay in that neutral place, like Cody mentioned, of, okay, I'm just going to listen and take it in.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about this journey forward. How do you continue seeing yourself being an ally? And what are some next steps in your allyship journeys?
Well, let's see. Next steps in allyship journeys, I think continue the current college relationships. I'm hoping our newly established DEI committee with Keswick can help foster some more mentorship or open up ideas to come forward and ask, how can I do this? Or you did it, how can I do it? With more than just me, again, sharing that with other managers and folks, so that anyone can feel comfortable in approaching another manager, including myself, to say, I'd like help learning this or getting to this level. How can I? So continuing that and continuing community outreach for folks, and being part of Leaders of Color Network and Leading Age and all those other great networking resources out there.
Thanks, Regina. Allison.
I would just say, I think it's just continuing to lean into relationships and to when you have an opportunity to support someone, to say yes and to be willing to be there. And I think from a Leading Age Maryland perspective, it's continuing our investment in helping our members become more inclusive, so that I'm not only working on it for myself, but I'm hopefully helping our members to be able to create workplaces that are more inclusive and supportive as well. So yeah, there's endless amounts of work to be done.
So true. So true. Cody.
Very similar to everyone else. My journey is to continue what I've been doing, I think, to put myself in spaces to learn. So going to conferences, being part of panels such as this, being part of different work groups, committees, going to seminars to learn, and just doing my own kind of, again, lived situations, learning from those as well. So again, just that continuous learning has been a theme, I think, across the board here, and just keeping that perspective and evolving with the times, because this type of work and how we become allies and show up can evolve, and we can't be stagnant, just like our DEIB work. So just continue to persevere.
Beautiful. Thank you all. Thank you all. So I have one more question for you, and I want to open it up to some Q&A. But my last question for you is words of advice. What would you share with others? What advice would you give to others who want to be better allies? Allison, let's start with you.
I think I would say learn about something new. Learn about a background or a culture or something that you don't know anything about. And whether it's a podcast or a book or a movie or whatever way is helpful for you, part of being an ally is doing the work and not relying on other people to always be the ones who are educating you about their experiences. So I would say learn something new about a group, a culture that you don't know about, and just see what that teaches you about yourself.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Allison. Cody. Oh, Regina, sorry, go ahead.
That's great. I was going to go back to the authenticity. Just again, being humble, being honest, sharing things that didn't go well, and being there so that they can say what's not going well, or what, because it's hard in whatever journey that we are going through, they are going through. I think just recognizing that and letting them know we get it. We've been there. We can do it.
Thanks, Regina. Cody.
I have two things here. Really, I would say do work on yourself as well as kind of being allies for others. I think something that's really made a push in the last couple years in our industry is implicit bias. We may think we know enough, but the reality is we have some things that are not maybe as that we are aware of that have been integrated into who we are through our upbringing and social situations. So take a good look at yourself, and I think having that understanding of implicit bias is really powerful. It's challenging, but it's powerful. And also, just even though when it gets hard and you've kind of get shot down and fail sometimes in your allyship, just continue to persevere, because those efforts, and we've seen this reign true, is it can really change someone's life. You could truly end up saving people's lives by being an ally. So just continuing that work. Even though you're one person, you can do really big things as an ally.
Love it. Even though you're one person, we can do really big things as an ally. Absolutely. Oh man. All right. I hope y'all caught, there's like, once again, gems everywhere. So I hope y'all caught some of those. We have a few minutes left, and I want to open it up to some dialogue here in the group. What questions do you all have? What's on your minds, or any comments you have? I know y'all are speechless because they were so good. I know.
And Jennifer, I'm not sure, I guess I'm not sure if this is an appropriate comment for this or question for this presentation here, but I'm curious if anyone's had success in turning someone maybe who originally you didn't see as an ally, and then perhaps through conversation and over the course of time, were able to maybe help mold them into an ally, or I'm not sure if anyone has experience with that.
Thanks, Dee, for the question. Any thoughts? What comes to mind for you all around
I
that?
think I have experienced that, and it was sort of, so I guess in a group discussion and asking for sort of career development, and that awful question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And how can I help you get there? And someone was, you know, they said, well, I'm fine where I'm at. This is just all I wanted to do, and I don't want to do anything else, but I don't want to be looked down on because I don't want to do anything else. This is what I want to do. And of course, you know, I said, sure, that is fine. That's great. And even though she made that statement, she still sort of felt, you know, as if it was a bad thing, or she was embarrassed that she didn't want to do more. So she sort of became, like, I guess, against moving up in the different development ladders that we were talking about. But then as she made comments, her negative comments turned into positive comments, and she was able to do what she wanted, like stay in that position that she wanted, but became a leader for those. So being vocal and saying that, and continuing to watch the process, I was able to see you still want to be that role, but you are also a leader in that role, which is still a development in something else that she didn't consider and she was totally against, but turned out to be a great lead. And she recognized that afterwards. So.
And Regina, it sounds like there was a level of patience and kind of meeting her where she was at so it was a kind of a mix of, it sounds like a mix of patience, meeting her where she was at, and also kind of continuing that guidance, right? To kind of see that shift over time. And I think that when we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, we recognize that we're all coming from different places. And easily you could have been like, what, why? Like been like, are you crazy? Right? All these kinds of things in your head that you could have said, but it sounds like you really stuck with her and allowed her to kind of formulate and grow, on her own, in her own time, and in her own way, which, then there she is leading within the team that she was working on and making a huge difference. Thank you. Anyone else? And Allison or Cody, do you want to speak to that?
I saw David unmute. Did you have a thought, David?
I was just going to give an example to Dee's comment. So when we first started DEIB at Edenwald, and specifically for LGBTQ, when we had our Pride Days and things like that, there were residents there, who would say, oh, why are you decorating? This is my home. And why do we have these decorations up? And, they made a few comments, and fast forward, over 2 years later now, we've had those same residents volunteer to now help decorate. I've received emails saying, oh, what a great celebration to bring everyone together. And in between all that, I'd put out information, I'd see them and have conversations with them. And really it came down to, for me personally, thinking they were coming from a place of fear because they didn't really understand it. And then once they, were educated and actually realized, why we do these celebrations, and all celebrations, related to DEIB, they became more comfortable, and they came out of their comfort zone to realize, oh, this isn't, maybe what I thought it was. And, they've completely changed. And it's just nice to see that. And I think you really just have to, people come, it's a place of fear, I think, for a lot of people, and they don't really understand it. But I think when you educate them, listen to them and let them know, I understand where you're coming from. And, why do you have this perspective about this? To see what triggers them, to think a certain way, or maybe not want to be an ally, or have these feelings. And I think you can kind of reverse engineer it and lean back into it from a different your perspective, and teach them. And I think it really comes from a place of teaching and getting them to understand what it is you're trying to do and relate to them. And they'll, realize the overall vision of, what you're trying to have in your community, or even personally, and why you may think a certain way as opposed to what they may think. If you're trying to, kind of pull them into your side, or maybe not even your side, but just to understand the bigger picture. And there's more than, one way to skin a cat. So they may see a glass half full, you may see it a glass half empty, but meet in the middle. So, you both understand it's still a glass, and it may be half empty, it may be half full, but there's still water in it, and you can still, share that water, just to use it as an example. So.
Great. Thanks, David. Other questions?
Well, I would like to thank our panelists, Cody, Allison, Regina. Very, very good, very thorough. We appreciate your braveness and opening up to all of us, and sharing. It's very impactful to everyone. And this is recorded, so we'll send this out to everyone else to view as well. And I'm sure they'll pick up a lot of gems, as Jennifer was saying, from this and how they approach allyship. So we definitely appreciate you. And just as a plug for our second webinar for allyship and what it means to master being an ally is December 3rd. So please tune in, please join us for that. It should be another excellent panel, and we know it will be another excellent panel. And thank you all so much for being a part of this. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Jennifer, Allison, any of us. And if you were not a part of the Leaders of Color, it's not just for Leaders of Color, it's for allies as well. And we would love to have you be a part of this. So thank you so much for everyone's time.
Thank you all. Thank you
Thanks,
all.
everyone.